our grid with coal from America. Let's not draw our oil. Let's bring coal from the U.S. of A. Do they do that in Saudi Arabia? No, they drill the natural resource they've been blessed with. It's time that we start doing the same thing. Yes, sir.
I hesitate to ask Jason because I know it's a state issue, not a
Sure.
federal issue, but it's near and dear to my heart because my wife works there. I know you were in Springfield today. What can you tell us about Thames? Alexander County was just, again, number the most economically depressed, poorest county in the state. Thames is in Alexander County. And can you tell us anything at all?
Yeah, well, a lot of you know it is a state issue. I'm pretty familiar with state issues. I ran for lieutenant governor. One thing I ran on, I don't think there's a person in this room that would disagree with the fact that we have to cut the state budget. There's no doubt about that. I argued that when I ran for lieutenant governor. I'm going to stand here and argue today. I think most politicians will tell you the state of Illinois has to cut its budget. But what I've always said in my last campaign was simple. You have to prioritize, and you have to think long term. And what the governor is doing, playing political games with the Southern Illinois workforce, is not thinking long term, and it's not prioritizing correctly. It's not doing the right thing for the state, it's doing the right thing for his political base. And I think it's ridiculous that we're going to put Southern Illinois jobs at risk to satisfy a bunch of liberals from Chicago. Well, I was here at Shawnee College, I don't know, 4 or 5 weeks ago when they did the TAMs here. And everybody here said it's the lifeblood of the local economy. TAMS saves money throughout the rest of the prison system. It helps protect our guards. It helps protect our state personnel. It helps protect other prisoners. TAMS saves us money. The mayor say it. ASME members say it. The wardens say it. The prison guards say it. The community leaders say it. And we import a bunch of Ivy League professors to tell us how to run Southern Illinois and how to run our state Department of Corrections. I think it's absolutely ridiculous. I'm running for a federal position, but just like most of the problems we face, I think local elected officials, state elected officials, and federal elected officials have to work together. I think the Republicans and Democrats have to work together. And as a candidate for federal office, once we win this race in November, I will fight tooth and nail with anybody to make sure that we keep not just TAMS, but the youth center in Murfreesboro, the facility in Carbondale, that we keep those facilities open, we keep Southern Illinoisans employed, and we keep integrity through our prison system. Yes, sir.
I enjoyed the information you're giving us tonight, but you are in a campaign. Did you ever hear from your opponent, or what did he say, or why is he not here to get his other side on these issues?
No, it's a good question. We started a dialogue, well, it was kind of a one-way dialogue, but we attempted to start a dialogue, nearly 2 months ago. As I said, I think this is an area that a lot of people feel like their voices are being heard. I think that I want to have a debate in every county. I think every county, the 12th congressional district, from Madison County to Alexander County to Pulaski County, should have a debate. I think people should have an opportunity to come out here. Our opponent essentially doesn't respond to us. He doesn't really respond to the media. We sent him mail, sent him certified mail. He won't show up. He'll send his staff. Ma'am, do you work with my opponent?
I do.
And what's your name?
My name is Susan
What's your last name?
Gleiser.
And I think the young lady over here actually is the one that signed for the certified mail that had a lot of the information on it. And any reason why Brad won't show up?
Well, you announced the debate on a Monday, and then you sent certified mail on a Friday to invite us. We didn't get it until the following Monday. It seems to me that there should be an open dialogue. You scheduled this and announced it in the press before inviting us, and then sent us a certified mail letter, a single piece of paper. It wasn't even from you. It was from your communications director. So Brad is more than willing to work with you, but you're right, it is one-sided. And there has been really no dialogue with us. If you schedule something without telling us, well, if we were to do that to you, it would be unfair.
The actual process is pretty simple. We said we'd like to have 12 debates in every county. We'd like to have a neutral site. We'd like to have a neutral moderator. We're open to any input you have on it, and let's get started. They responded to the media and said, we like that idea. We'd like to do that. We will reach out to the Plummer campaign. We waited. We never heard from them. We sent them certified mail. They received it, and then we said, let's schedule. But we scheduled it, 5 or 6 weeks in advance, so that we could sort out the details. We had members of the media, radio, and newspaper that were willing to moderate it. Unfortunately, we can't get anybody to show up. And we're going to continue to try to. I guess right here is my communications director, Phil. Could you guys exchange cards?
Sure.
And then will Brad debate us one time in each county?
Brad is looking forward to the debate on June 15th.
Okay. Can we have more debates?
It's not up to me to decide.
Who's that up to?
I think that this forum is about you, and we would really love to hear what you have to say.
Great. Great. Do we have any more questions? Yes, sir.
Jason, you're reserve, Naval Reserve, and involved in the military. What do you see when you get to Washington? What do you see as one of the pressing needs for our national defense? Some of those things.
Well, I think, I appreciate the question because one thing that frustrates me a lot is when you see, as I said, a lot of the problems we face are not Republican problems, are not Democrat problems, are American problems. And what I saw a few months ago, same thing you all read in the newspapers, is Republicans and Democrats couldn't get together and come to a joint decision on how to save the country money, how to cut the budget. And so what they did instead, they said, if we don't reach a bipartisan decision by X date, we're going to cut $500 billion from the Pentagon. Well, I don't think our men and women in uniform should be punished because a bunch of career politicians and bureaucrats can't come to a decision. So I think the most important thing is we get serious people out there that, like I said before, they plan long term and they prioritize. And I think neglecting all of the obvious waste, fraud, and abuse that exists within government, neglecting the entitlement systems that's out there, neglecting the welfare system that's out there, neglecting the tax policy that costs us money, costs taxpayers money, costs the government money. If we had a more efficient tax policy, that would be a good thing. If we went after these issues, instead of just attacking the military and cutting money from the military, I think that would benefit our country. I think that it's a very dangerous world out there. And I think it's very naive for people to think that, well, Iraq's done and Afghanistan's winding up, and so, everybody's going to come home and say hunky-dory. The fact of the matter is, there's violence just south of our border in Mexico that is very destabilizing to an ally to us. There's violence in South America. There's violence in Southeast Asia. There's a lot of things going on in Africa and the Philippines and Eastern Europe, and Russia is always kind of shaking its stick. And I think, our greatest long-term threat, China, is growing its military and growing its Navy, growing its Air Force, and that the budget that the President of the United States has proposed and that his Senate and congressional allies seem to support would give us the smallest standing army since World War II, the smallest standing Navy since World War I, and the smallest strike fighter force in the history of the United States military. And I don't think that's a military I don't think that's a situation we want to see our military in. I think that we are the strongest nation, we are the wealthiest nation, and I think that one reason why we are so economically successful and we have seen so much peace in our lives and in everyone's lives is because we have a huge military that defends us, that protects our interests, our safety, and I think we need to be, we have to make sure we have a strong military, and the military shouldn't be the whipping boy to a bunch of career politicians that can't reach a mutual agreement. Yes, sir.
Some of this come up late the last several months. I am a Roman Catholic and very much faithful. I'm deeply, deeply concerned with the HHS mandates regarding contraceptives.
Right.
I know that over 40 Catholic institutions have filed suit this week against the Obama administration regarding those mandates. I guess my concern is not specifically on those mandates as much as it seems the bureaucracy in this administration has become a runaway institution, that no one has anything, they don't respond to anyone, they don't answer anyone, they're completely unaccountable. I guess my question for you would be, if you're elected to Congress, will you take steps, and what steps could you maybe propose, just off the top of your head, to rein in this out of control problems?
Sure. The first thing I would say is this. I think that's a very important issue. I think, however, we have a president, we have Nancy Pelosi, we have Harry Reid, who don't have much of a record to run on. And so what we're going to see, we're going to continue to see, is we're going to see people like my opponent, who's going to talk about shoving grandma over the cliff, and going to talk about taking away the rights of young women in college, and going to talk about the war on women, and they're going to talk about